There it is.
Ding, 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 ding.
It's on. Hello, friends. How's
Ooh,
everybody doing?
I'm
Oh,
good.
we're waiting 60 seconds.
Heard that. Oh yeah, at 11:30, I think. Oh, they can
Got it.
hear us.
Oh, they can hear us. Nice. Okay. All right. Well, for anybody who's out there, hope you're having a good day so far. Hope you're enjoying the conference. Um, Jason and I are looking forward to having a chat with you today. But while we wait, if you want to, just to show us you're there, post your favorite brewery in the chat,
Ooh, that is
or at
a
least
that's
one of
a
your favorite breweries.
yeah, that's a big question, right?
Yeah, and it can't be yours. If you own it, it can't be yours. It's got to be somebody else's brewery.
Yeah, that's fair. Unless you do work at the best brewery.
What are a couple of your favorites that you got over there, Jason?
Oh, speciation artisan ales.
Ooh,
Um,
that sounds
bomb,
fancy.
wild, and spontaneously fermented beer. So shout out to Mitch. Oh, so they can see us.
There we go. Hey, there we are.
So we are legit live. The shoot.
Deschutes. Nice.
I love the phonetic spelling, Wyatt. We should petition them to change that.
That's great.
All right, for everyone out there, welcome early or welcome on time to I Need a Beer, the nuances of drinking the cope. You are in the right place. So sit
Yes, you
tight,
are.
sit back. We've been given the recommendation. You know how it goes. We're going to wait a beat or two, and we'll get this thing rolling in about 2 minutes, give or take, to
Yeah.
allow everybody to trickle in.
Give everyone some time. So yeah, Wyatt, I love Deschutes.
Mm,
They were actually my first craft brewery that I was like hooked on. That's really good. I love their Black Butte Porter. That's my go-to for Deschutes. So tasty. We got Liquid Mechanics in Lafayette, Colorado. I'm gonna have to
been
check them
there.
out. Have you? Pretty good.
Yeah, my dad lives in Longmont,
Hmm.
so I've been really fortunate to take a couple weekend trips to the beer scene out there.
Oh, okay. Is that
Awesome.
how you knew about the Colorado? What was the Colorado Springs one you sent me to in the church?
Oh man, local relic in
Local
Colorado
relic.
Springs.
Oh my gosh, that place was amazing. The
Yeah,
food
right.
was like 5 star. The beer was 5 star. Man,
Yeah.
I wish that place was closer to me.
I think I told you, but what drew me to them when I was passing through Colorado Springs was that they boast 200 plus unique beers every year, no
That's
flagships.
impressive.
Yeah, I
I
can get
love
on
that.
board with that.
I mean,
All
I
right, so
like a good
maybe,
flagship for somebody, for somebody who's like, you want to go and have a trusty beer that you know is going to be good, but like I also like those experiments too. That's really great.
yeah, I think they're a brewery where they're assuming the training wheels have already come off. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
like you were definitely jumping in the deep end of a very delicious pool.
Ah, yes, that's very true, and it's classy too. That place is super classy.
For sure, for sure.
Um, ooh, where's everyone turning in from? Yeah, so if you guys are on, tell us where you're from and tell us one of your favorite breweries in the area.
And Zach, if you're ready to get rolling, I think we're about 3 minutes in. This should
Yep,
we should have given everybody enough time to get cozy and get comfortable. All right,
absolutely.
so
Let's
let's
do it.
kick this thing off. All right, friends, wherever you are joining us from, thank you for being here. It's probably either Facebook or YouTube, courtesy of Andrew and the amazing craft beer professionals Facebook group, which, dare I say, has gone viral over at least the last year. It's been an amazing sounding board for the industry. So, first and foremost, shout out to Andrew and CBP for putting this together, for hosting all of us, for making it free 99, and for bringing all of these intelligent, brilliant people from all over the country together. So, to you out there from wherever you're viewing from, thank you so much for being here. This is a really important conversation that, as we've learned very recently within the last 24 hours, clearly still needs to be had. So
Absolutely.
a quick couple housekeeping things before we dive into the slides. I will tell you that you probably see me and my co-presenter, Zach, in the other thumbnail. We're going to be ping-ponging, tennis match, flipping these slides back and forth between each other. We're going to do our best to field questions for one another as they're coming in. And assuming they don't deviate us way off the rails, we'll take questions in real time if they're super pressing and timely. Otherwise, like every other virtual presentation you've probably attended, we will try to reserve some time at the end of our talk for a Q&A at the end. So obviously, the title of the presentation should pique a little bit of interest, right? I need a beer. The nuances of drinking to cope. We're going to unpack all that, but I will tell you that the 30,000-foot overview of the conversation is that we are going to reframe the talk about how healthier relationships with alcohol can proactively position the craft beer industry to be better stewards of what we produce, how we market it, and then very sincerely how we treat ourselves and all of our fans who consume our product. So we're going to be talking about the state of mental health in the industry and probably touch on some sensitive subject matter. So very gentle trigger warning for anyone who's going through the stuff. We hear you, we feel you, we're with you, but just know that if some of this stuff is a hot button topic for you, please pace your consumption through this talk. As a reminder, you can go back and watch this as a rerun, and we encourage you to do so. In the meantime, for everyone who is lucky enough and badass enough to be sitting with us right now in real time, please, please, please take the opportunity to engage with us in whatever chat box format that's relevant to the platform you're sitting on, because that is really going to help enhance the breadth and the depth of this conversation and hopefully enhance it for those who are watching it for a second go around. So without further ado, I will jump in to an introduction of myself, which is always kind of weird, and the organization I represent. Zach, are you good for me to continue?
Good to go. Let's do it.
All right, brother. All right, friends out there. My name is Jason Lay. I'm the CEO of Better Drinking Culture. I'm also a certified Cicerone, the author of our first book, The Drinker's Manifesto, which I'll bring up a little later in the presentation, executive Bourbon Steward, freelance beer journalist, speaker, consultant, and fun fact, I even created an Emmy-nominated, non-scripted reality TV show about craft beer enthusiasts chasing their bucket list beers. So everything about what we're talking about is personally very important to me because I have been on the other side of this before that I knew a better way to have a relationship with alcohol was a thing. So I've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, threw up on the t-shirt, and bought another t-shirt. And I kept that cycle going for probably my first 2 decades of legal drinking, or almost 2 decades. Fortunately, I haven't killed myself or someone else. And I say that very sincerely because what we're going to talk about has the potential to put ourselves and others into harm's way. So I'm not going to narrate the slide you see in front of you, but what I will tell you is that BDC was founded on these very foundational core values. Everything we believe and we communicate is rooted in what you see here. And it's all based on love, compassion, empathy, and grace for ourselves and for our friends. Because we were simply sick and tired and exhausted from waking up feeling like shit because we had too much to drink last night. And if you're like me, having to apologize to the people you love and care about for all the dumb shit you did last night because you had no business finishing the bottle that was in front of you. So everything that I'm going to speak on today is coming from this perspective of these core beliefs and values of what we believe a better drinking culture should look like. And I'll tell you, I can only speak for myself, but I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't pull any punches. I am definitely going to call out some BS and absurdities in our current drinking culture and the way I think we have an opportunity to combat those in a better, healthier way. So if anything I say makes you roll your eyes at me, good. That's okay. Because that tells me two things. One, you're listening. So thank you for listening and being here. And two, it reinforces the fact that people somehow, and it blows our minds, are still, for some reason, offended by this idea of talking about our own personal well-being in an industry that, let's be honest, has a historical reputation for putting that well-being at risk. So we're going to get through this thing together. We're going to put an amazing, unique perspective on it. So now, without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to my man, Zach, and he's going to share a little bit about himself and the organization he represents. Zach, are you ready for your slide, brother?
Absolutely.
There you are, my man.
Thank you so much, Jay. So my name is Zach Jewell, and I am here with Into the Dark Blue. We are a nonprofit organization focused on men's mental wellness. Now, to start off, I want to let you all know it's not just for men. If you don't identify as men or male, or if you are just interested in being a part of advocating for men's mental wellness, whatever the case may be, you are welcome here. So please keep that in mind. We are an open table, so anybody can join us. Our whole purpose is to create space for guys to get together and learn how to deal with their shit, learn how to work through their emotions, and understand what they're feeling and why. That's our whole purpose. And through that, we're actually creating a network of men's groups at independent breweries around the country to create that space for guys who need it. And that includes working with the community as well, and having guys connect with their community, doing projects with the brewery, so they can connect with people and do something to improve their mental wellness, as well as talking about their mental wellness. So we're trying to open up this conversation and allow guys, make sure that guys know it's okay to have these conversations, which is something that we typically aren't very good at doing. If we start talking about these more, then we can start solving some of these problems we're dealing with. And what better place to do it than a craft brewery, right? That's what we're all about. That's where we came from. So Into the Dark Blue was created because me, a good friend of mine, realized that craft breweries and pubs are where we have some of our deepest conversations. Get a beer in my hand, something I love doing, something I love talking about. It just opens me up to talking about other things as well. It's a safe space for me. It's somewhere I can go where I feel comfortable. And so this is what it's all about. And this is part of what we're going to be talking about today. So if you can actually switch the slide for me, Jay.
Yes, sir. There you have it.
So talking a little bit about the DNA of craft beer. And this is, like I said, this is where it comes from. I love craft beer. And I assume if you're watching this, you also are into craft beer pretty significantly. So with that said, the whole idea is to bring these conversations into the craft breweries and get the breweries having these conversations more, making it more of a norm. it's such a great place to do this because it's I like to consider a craft brewery kind of like a gallery, an art gallery for beer, right? There's so many amazing things to talk about with beer and learn about, and if we can provide that education and help for people to appreciate the beer, the quality of the beer, then we can help to have better relationships around these things. So basically, we want to help people to appreciate the drink instead of the drinking, right? So that is the whole purpose, and a perfect place, a perfect conduit for having these conversations. Craft breweries are great community spaces. Most of the craft brewers that I know love their communities. They want to do good in their communities and have a positive impact. So it's the perfect forum for that to happen. And we want to help to provide you guys some thought-provoking options to make that happen. So Jason, if you have anything to add to that.
I can pick it up from there. Yeah, Zach, wouldn't you say that it's in a craft or independent brewery's DNA to be the perfect, I can't believe that we still have to like figure this out, but the perfect petri dish or test audience or environment to advocate for these better practices, these healthier mindsets? Because I remember when I first started drinking craft beer, the only thing that I really remembered was quality over quantity, right? So you mentioned these tap rooms being these safe spaces. I think our talk obviously parallels that environment where these conversations are already happening. We need the industry to get on board with what is already happening in their tap rooms, right?
Absolutely.
All right, I'll move on, and I'm going to kind of throw a wrench in everything we've just said with a little bit of a historical how did we get here perspective. So BDC started through a moment of vulnerability. The guy who founded BDC got really vulnerable and started sharing his story. Funny enough, the story wasn't even about him, but it was about his mother's struggle in her relationship with alcohol. So by him being a little bit vulnerable, that created that safe space for his friends to start doing the same. And thus BDC was born. But one thing we discovered very early on, and I'm probably certain that everyone out there would not in agreement when I tell you that there is one singular common thread through every single drinking story we've ever told or heard about. And that is every single negative consequence associated with alcohol is very simply the result of drinking too much. Zach, can you still see the slides out there? Beautiful. There they are.
We got it back. Yep.
Okay. Hiccup. All right. We're good. We're still live. So every negative consequence associated with alcohol is the result of drinking too much of it, right? That's when the wheels fall off the bus. Drinking too much sucks. We're going to talk about what that sweet spot looks like for all of us before we go over the edge later on in the presentation. But what I really want to hone in on here are those negative consequences. We know all of the avert stuff that we've heard from day one, right? Don't drink and drive because you'll kill yourself or someone else. Pregnant mothers shouldn't drink while pregnant. Don't go operate a forklift in the brew house while you're cocktailed up, right? We get all of those things. But what we still seem to shy away from is talking about the more subtle stuff that's under the surface that sometimes we can't even identify because there's no one out there to help bounce it off of, right? And because we've been conditioned to treat this, to stigmatize this idea of just talking about our shit that we're going through, right? So I'm talking about the mental stuff, the emotional stuff, the stuff that turns from a funny ha-ha embarrassment to a little bit more serious regret. And then the stuff that really has hit me and that helped me turn a corner was when that regret started to solidify and sit in the pit of my stomach. And when I looked myself in the mirror after a horrible night out with the bottle, it's all of that stuff that comes together and creates shame. And so then we regress and we bury it. And then we drink on top of it to cover it up, hoping that it goes away, that it somehow magically, miraculously fixes itself. Drinking to cope won't do that. It just perpetuates this cycle of shame, which in of itself makes all of this so difficult to talk about. And I'd be remiss if I didn't call out social media for perpetuating this glamorization of overconsumption. We look at your 21st birthday, drinking 21 shots on your 21st birthday. We look at this, this ritual of going hard, getting a hangover, celebrating Sunday Fun Day as an expected rite of passage. Think about all of the alcohol-related stuff you see on social media that probably shouldn't come from a brewery, right? It's all of the things that glamorize overconsumption. It's everything that gets the likes, the hearts, the shares. That is not the way we need to be educating the consumer and the next generation about how amazing this crafted product is and the environment that it creates that Zach talked about earlier. It's these community safe spaces where these conversations should be happening. So as an industry in a position of influence, because your people trust you, if they're drinking your product and if they're visiting your tap room and they're wearing your t-shirt, they trust you. We have to take that trust seriously. And we have to stop taking the bait of what social media and our historical drinking culture continues to sell us. That it is okay to go so hard with your drinking that who cares what collateral damage is left in your wake, particularly when it's this and it's this and it's you or it's your friends.
Preach.
So industry, we have to rise to the challenge and behave and conduct ourselves and our messaging and our marketing and our conversations that we're having internally with our people to a better standard. Zach, are you ready for your next slide, brother? Unless you have
Absolutely,
anything to add.
man. I think you said it best. You're doing great. I'm ready to go.
Yes, sir.
You're setting me up good, man. I love it.
All right, knock them down.
All right, guys. So, yes, to go with that, a lot of people don't really differentiate mental illness and mental wellness. There's definitely a difference between mental illness and mental wellness. Not everybody who overdrinks has an addiction, right? Sometimes they just have really terrible friends who encourage them to drink way too much, or they're just got a lot of things going on in their lives, and this is the only coping mechanism they know of, right? So we have to differentiate between a mental illness, which is something that is diagnosed, something that people take medication for, something that is a natural struggle that they have because of their brain chemistry or whatever it may be. Whereas your mental wellness is your daily mental check-ins and understanding where you're at with your life, the difficult things that you have going on, acknowledging your struggles, and being able to learn how to account for them and make some changes in your life so you can better find a better catalyst for change, and progress, right? So improving your mental wellness on a daily basis is important here. And so when we drink or we smoke or we do other things to cope with our negative emotions, this is where it leads to kind of that path of destruction that Jason's talking about, overdoing it and causing embarrassing yourself and doing things that are harmful to others. This to say one bad night doesn't mean that, or it doesn't mean that you're an alcoholic. It doesn't define you. But we have to pay more attention to why we got to that bad night, right? So if we're doing it over and over and over again, that's where the problem comes in. And Edmundo, I see your question here as well, and I want to address that real quick too, because it relates to this. Conversations are so important in maintaining that mental wellness. And when we bring those, yeah,
brother, sorry for interrupting. If you don't mind, let me read what Edmundo says to tee you up for that response. So he says, Zach, I guess you will be talking about this later, but you mentioned having honest conversations with other guys, other people at breweries and pubs where we can express our feelings. He goes on, this is hard and happens especially after having a few and getting buzzed. Any suggestions or strategies to approach better drinking behaviors without actually getting buzzed? I'll tell you, and you know this, that I'll address it in two slides from now, but feel free to continue where you were.
Yeah, definitely. So, and that's what I was going to say. We're going to talk a little bit more about this later, but this is why bringing these conversations into the breweries is so important, is maintaining the mental wellness, right? And creating that better relationship with how we drink and all of that. So we will have more strategies for that later, but I wanted to address your question real quick and tell you this is why we're bringing these conversations. This is why we're advocating for this so adamantly, because these conversations are how we keep track. We check in with each other. That's how we keep track of our mental wellness, and we start to build habits surrounding creating better mental wellness on a daily basis, right? So yes, daily maintenance, that is extremely important. Checking in with yourself every day, checking in with your friends and family every day, just to kind of let them know where you're at, being more honest about your feelings and about what's going on in your life, so you aren't trying to hide things or trying to escape from things, right? And so for me personally, something that's really important to me is I try not to consume anything mind altering unless I'm already in a good headspace. I try my absolute best to, if I'm going to have a drink, it's because I've had a good day. It's because I'm celebrating something. It's because I'm happy, right? Because when I'm happy, I don't want to drink more. I want to have a drink to enjoy it because I love craft beer. I love the flavor profiles. I love the colors. I love the time and blood and sweat and tears that goes into making that drink. And I can sit and I can appreciate that 1 or 2 beers and be okay with that. So that said, we're going to talk a little bit more about drinking responsibly.
Oh, this is my favorite. You ready?
Oh, I know it is.
Here we go. All right. I'm
Buckle
putting
up.
y'all on notice. So BDC does not, wait for it, advocate for drinking responsibly. And I'll explain. All right. So Drink Responsibly started, here's a little history lesson. It started as an advertising campaign in the 1970s as a way, you guessed it, to very subtly inform the consumer of alcohol, of its potential dangers and risks, right? Like the stuff I mentioned earlier. We get it. We know it, right? It goes in one ear and out the other now. Why? Because a lot has changed since the 1970s, yet the industry still latches on to this very archaic notion of responsibility. And I get it. There are inherent definitions associated with the word that are accurate. But I'll tell you that from my findings in speaking to dozens of policymaker conventions, colleges across the country, breweries, and stakeholders, Drink Responsibly is now at the point where it is diluted, it's been misinterpreted, and it has lost its meaning. Because now the new age of drinkers, the drinkers who are coming up through, let's be honest, high school and college, they view drinking responsibly as the green light to drink as much as they want, as long as they get a safe ride home. So going back to the advent of social media and subsequently rideshare programs that are just a couple app clicks away, you can drink as much as you want and not drive home. So one, good. Thank you for not driving home intoxicated. That's not debatable, okay? But Drink Responsibly misses the mark on addressing the core issue. The core issue is all of that stuff swirling around here, impressing us here, that put us in the position to drink too much in the first place. And I ask all of you out there, think about the last time you took a ride share home. I don't know about you, but my XYZ rideshare driver has never helped me out of the car. He's never helped me get my key in the door at home. He's never taken my shoes off and pushed me into bed. He's never brought me a glass of water in the middle of the night. He didn't make me any pizza rolls when I got home because I think somehow like the food or the burger or the pizza at 3 a.m. is going to soak up the alcohol and make tomorrow better. Spoiler, it's not. He's not going to clean up the puke off your floor. He's not going to patch the hole in your wall because you're one of those angry drunks. And he's not going to call your significant other, confess, and apologize for cheating on you last night, like so many of my apologies were based on. So we have to think about what drinking responsibly really means to us. Zach started talking about what the industry can do, and we'll offer a little bit more insight in a couple moments. But I would encourage everyone out there who represents a brewery or an establishment where alcohol is the primary revenue generator, ditch Drink Responsibly. Think about it, right? Where do you see it? On a bottle or a can or an advertisement? And it's this tiny, and it's buried at the bottom of everything. Why? Because it makes lawyers sleep good at night, because you checked the box, because you told the consumer that it's on them if they screw it up, right? You can sleep great at night because you told them to drink responsibly. And most of the time, what do? We put please in front of it. It is a desperate plea that's run out of gas. So instead, Like BDC has, because hangovers suck, that's in our tone, our voice, our language. It's universally understood and it immediately resonates. So you, as a brand, can you create your own personalized moderation statement that speaks to your people the way that they're used to hearing you speak? I might suggest drink better, but I'm a little biased. So on that note, this is our alternative to drinking responsibly. And if you'll allow me, this is the one slide I will narrate to you. In two parts, we've defined drinking better as to drink mindfully. That is, originating from a healthy state of mind with clarity and maintaining present moment self-awareness. Self-awareness is so valuable and seemingly, surprisingly undervalued, right? We just don't think about it. Thus, a lack of self-awareness. Are you the jerk who never uses their turn signal? Lack of self-awareness. Are you the jerk who can't return their shopping cart in the parking lot of the grocery store? Lack of self-awareness. Are you the person who, when you drink, makes people uncomfortable or offended by what you say or how you act? I've done it. That is a lack of self-awareness that I'll wager is the result of drinking too much. I'll continue. To drink in moderation, that is within one's own personal limits, not in excess or to the point of a loss of self-control. So we all know that there are multiple organizations out there that give a relatively black and white definition for what constitutes binge drinking or problem drinking, right? And the standard, in case you're unfamiliar, it's pretty black and white. It's 4 drinks for a woman, 5 drinks for a man in one drinking session. That's usually how it's defined, right? Instead, we believe that that definition doesn't apply to everyone, right? My limit is different than Zach's limit. His limit is different than all of your limits, right? So who are we to tell you what your own moderation is? Moderation for you should be within your own personal limits. You know when the wheels fall off the bus. Let's keep the vehicle between the lines so we can maintain that present moment self-awareness, so we don't lose control of ourselves and have to have our friends start to pick up the pieces after the damage has already been done. BDC advocates for making moderation aspirational. Moderation, the new binge drinking. Moderation is the new black. It is what we as an industry should be advocating for. It doesn't hurt your bottom line. It only enhances and curates a smarter, more educated, more thoughtful and caring consumer. And aren't those the people you want consuming and repping your product anyway? You all spend your blood, sweat, and tears producing this amazing product. So why give it away to chug videos online, right? Why give it away so that people just shoot it back so fast that they don't take time to enjoy everything that went in to what's in your glass? Because if we can respect, like Zach said, what's in our glass, we can prolong our long-term relationship with alcohol instead of crashing and burning straight out of the gate on our 21st birthday.
Absolutely, man. I love that.
Anything to add, brother?
Awesome. No, man. I mean, I just want to just move into offering these folks our challenge. right? We're coming up on time, so I want to give you guys a couple minutes to ask questions, and you can start doing that in the comments if you want. Start asking some questions so we can refer to those in just a minute. But while better drinking culture is hangovers because hangovers suck, with Into the Dark Blue, it's drink local, drink smart, right? And it's all about creating that smart drinking. And we are at the top. We are the leaders in our communities, and we need to be the ones advocating for that, right? Change starts at the top. And so we want to offer you guys this challenge to be the ones to create that change. Be the ones to encourage better drinking, whether it's with your staff or with your patrons. Create conversations with your staff that help them be able to have those conversations with the people that they're serving. And encourage that. Encourage the lower alcohol volume beers. Brew more low alcohol volume beers, or even brew your own non-alcoholic beer, right? Encourage people to drink a non-alcoholic beer in between their regular beers, or at least a full glass of water. Have a promotion for, or not a promotion, but have a motto for a 1:1 ratio craft beer to water. So we're not just drinking beer. One of my favorite pubs here in San Antonio, Texas, has a little disclaimer on their menu that says 6 drink limit. Now, I don't know about you, but if I drink 6 drinks, regardless of the alcohol volume, I'm not drinking smart at that point. And especially if binge drinking is considered 5 drinks for men. So, that means you could be drinking 12% alcohol volume beers, right? That takes the responsibility off of the brewery and puts it on the consumer. While that's there, they have that responsibility. The brewery also has the responsibility to their community, to care for your brewery and your community, right? So take some of these steps and encourage these conversations. If you're a consumer, be the one to advocate for better drinking. Be the one in your group of friends to say, you know what, maybe we should have some water. Maybe we should have some food. Maybe we should have a non-alcoholic beer for this round. Be that guy. Be the one who's going to step up and say, it's okay to drink less.
Yeah. Zach, could I add that in those situations where any of your friends or you opt out of a drink, if any of you take a pass, if any of you shift to water or an alcohol-free beer, guess what? Lay off that person, right? Don't read them the riot act. Don't throw 20 questions at them. Don't interrogate them. You know why? Because it's none of our business. For whatever reason, if you choose not to engage with alcohol at any point in time, number one, it's none of our business. Number two, good for you, because you're making the decision to drink within your own personal limits. If your limit for the time, for the day, the month, your life, if your limit is 0, that's okay, right? But we need to let up on the gas of pressuring people into consuming more than they want or more than that's good for them. And I'll harken back to drinking better to reemphasize that when we drink better, when we choose to engage with alcohol mindfully, right? That is the difference between saying, I need a drink to cope, or because our body is now craving it, right? I'm not saying you can't or shouldn't have a beer after a long, hard day. But instead, we should want to have a beer to celebrate the occasion, or sometimes because we need to decompress, not because we have to, right? It's a choice. Absolutely. And I have to give a shout out to Hope for the Day. I don't know if anyone live or in the rerun caught their panel discussion yesterday. And if you haven't, go back and watch that. Yes. Zach and I are really good friends with our homeboy Joel at Hope for the Day.
Shout out Joel, who popped in earlier. I don't know if he's still there or not.
He led a panel discussion with 3 other prominent people in the industry talking about mental health and suicide prevention in our industry. And I couldn't believe how personally affected they were on screen, talking about getting the shit kicked out of them on social media for the recent global collaboration they've launched called Things We Don't Say IPA, for talking about our mental health, our well-being, to hopefully save someone from attempting or completing suicide. They're getting drugged through the mud for trying to talk about it. And will acknowledge, and they mentioned it yesterday very eloquently, that those people who might be rolling their eyes or throwing shade on social media, let's be honest, you're probably the ones who need it the most. You're the ones we're doing it for. And it is time that we keep having this conversation. We've already started it.
Absolutely.
We've got to keep it up. So to reiterate Zach's challenge to the industry, let's start holding ourselves and our people and the people we care about to a better standard. So the obligatory contact us page, real quick on me, there is all my stuff at Better Drinking Culture, hashtag because hangovers suck. You can find me at Jason Lay across the social media platforms. And if you're so inclined, would appreciate any support of the book I wrote and published on behalf of BDC called The Drinker's Manifesto, available directly on our website, or if you do the Bezos thing on Amazon. And it really unpacks all of those core beliefs and values and helps set up the next generation for what a healthier relationship with alcohol should look like.
And it's a great book too. I've read it. So get on there, buy it, and also buy some Better Drinking Culture gear because it's pretty cool too. Yeah. So if you guys want to find me at Into the Dark Blue, all the information is there. Please follow us on social and check out what we're doing. If you own a brewery or you are connected with a brewery in some way and you think that you would like to host a men's group, please email me at intothedarkbluepodcast@gmail.com. We are working on getting that network set up and we would love for you to be a part of that. Also, if you'd like to support us, we are a nonprofit organization, so you can go to our website and donate to our fundraiser that we've got going on. You can buy some Dark Blue merch from the Sheath Underwear website, and those guys are really amazing in helping us create this this cool gear. So definitely check that out. All the proceeds go toward what we're doing to make these groups happen and create our programming. So we want to thank you guys so much for joining us for this conversation. It's been a pleasure to be here with the craft beer professionals. Thank you again, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you, Zach. What an awesome experience, man. Thank you for collaborating on this with me. And if you've made it this far, congratulations. Thank you again very much. And please, 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 if you haven't already, drop into the Craft Beer Professionals Facebook group or their weekly free conversations that happen online every Tuesday at 11 a.m. at Craft Beer Professionals. Again, on behalf of Zach and Better Drinking Culture and Into the Dark Blue, thanks, everybody. We appreciate you being here. Cheers.
Cheers.